Meant to Be Well Summit is created by three incredible women, Ambreen, Valerie, and Andrea. The main objective is to bring together experts from around the world to raise awareness about the importance of holistic well-being. This summit aims to explore the multidimensional aspects of well-being, including physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health. This isn't just any event. It's a unique, global summit marathon designed to cover all time zones across the globe. We created this event because we genuinely care about you.
Hey everyone, we have a little intro there that came in and I love it. I was like, super excited about that. I want to introduce my incredible speaker with us today, and thank you so much for joining. We are on our fifth amazing speaker at the US-Canada portion of Meant to Be Well, and I have Dr. Jen Fraser here, and let me share with you her incredible information and bio that she's doing. She's going to be talking with us about high-performing brains, their need for psychological safety. Now, Dr. Jennifer Fraser is joining us from Canada, and she's an award-winning educator and advocate for anti-bullying in all of its settings. She is also the author of the incredible book, The Bullied Brain: Heal Your Scars and Restore Your Health. Dr. Fraser uses neuroscience and evidence-based practice to transform the outdated bullying paradigm. Thank you so much for being with us today. I really appreciate it.
It's really great to be chatting with you, Valerie, as always.
Oh, thank you. It's a pleasure. Now, Dr. Fraser, can you talk with us about The Bullied Brain, your book, and about this bullying paradigm? It is such an important conversation.
Yeah, so I ended up being pulled into a bullying situation myself in the workplace, and all of the things that happened were so shocking to me. I realized that we kind of operate under a series of myths when we think about bullying. The word is used all the time. We say we have a bullying epidemic, but we really regulate it to the world of children, which is completely mythological, because in actual fact, adults bully. They role model it for children. Children imitate adult behaviors like bullying. And so we never get to the heart of the matter. We never really tackle it as a society. And it's progressively getting worse because we don't look at the adults. So in my book, The Bullied Brain, I look really specifically at adult behaviors and how they have become very normalized in our society. We see bullying everywhere, from the playground to the boardroom to the international political stage. So on the one hand, we tell kids, it's like, whoa, bullying's really harmful. It's really destructive. Zero tolerance. Don't do it. And then on the flip side, our kids are watching, the most prestigious, powerful adults in the world who use bullying regularly with impunity. A kid will get suspended and expelled for bullying behaviors, really in serious sort of moral trouble, whereas adults do it and it's sort of seen as associated with having power and being able to put other people down. And this increases your sort of, your potency. And so that hypocrisy between how we work with our kids and talk to our kids and then how we behave is really just kind of socially for all of us extremely unhealthy. So what I started to do was, I was being told, why do you care about this? It's not a big deal. We've normalized bullying. You should too. And I was like, I'm a trained researcher. So I was like, what does the research say? And so I looked at the psychology and the psychiatry and education, and then I hit the neuroscience. And I grew up without learning barely anything about my brain. It's not like I was taught in elementary school or high school or during my BA or my master's or my PhD. It's like the brain was non-existent. Mm-hmm. And what I've learned in the last 12 years, where I did a deep dive into what does the research say, what do the scientists know about the brain and bullying and holistic health that we don't know? And they know a ton. And it's really exciting and empowering and energizing information. So, I'm an educator at heart. My dream is to get the science out into the world because it can make people so much happier, so much healthier, and it increases high performance in significant ways. So that's really that's my mission.
I think that's beautiful. I think it's beautiful. And Jen, I just truly feel like, as a medical professional, like I just can see or feel, I should say, more of how like almost like bullying, it asphyxiates the brain. Like there is there are and I love how you talk about that in your book about the changes that physically happen in your brain from bullying, and we minimize it, and it's prevalent throughout society, throughout ages. And you talk about in your book about like we wouldn't be doing this for some other type of physical condition, but for some reason we just are normalizing that, and that's not okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is, and I'd love to know your thoughts on this, again, as a medical professional, I feel like what happens is we're very visual creatures, human beings. And because we can't see our brains, and it sounds silly, but I think it's true, because we can't see them, we forget about them. So as you know, Valerie, in the book, I use the analogy with smoking. So when I was growing up, smoking was normal. And it was just something you didn't really think about. Everybody smoked. Your parents smoked, your teacher smoked, the doctor smoked when he wrote you a prescription, the nurse practitioner smoked, everybody smoked. And so, I think that bullying has that same role in our society right now. And the big game changer with smoking was all of a sudden they could show us our lungs. And when we could see them through the x-ray, non-invasive technology, we changed. We radically changed as a society. And we understood that smoking might be normalized, but it doesn't make you tough. It doesn't make you cool. It doesn't make you sophisticated. It's correlated with the cause of cancer. So we are at a tipping point scientifically right now, I think, where with non-invasive technology, again, MRI scans, EEGs, fMRI, we can see our brains. And now that we can see the physical damage that's done from bullying and abuse, all types of behaviors that we normalize in our society, like yelling in someone's face, humiliating them, ostracizing them, demeaning, degrading, berating, threatening, all of these things that don't touch the body, ignoring even, they do unbelievable harm, physical harm to the brain. It's visible on a brain scan. So I believe that any day now, we are going to have a world where just as you see blackened lungs that have tumors in them when you make the choice to buy a package of cigarettes, you are going to see the same thing flash up on your screen, let's say, or show up, on a poster in the workplace or in your school that says to you, this is what a brain looks like when it is being hurt by other people, when it's being treated unkindly even. This is what it looks like. Sure, you want to do that? And that moment of hesitation, that pause where we say, just a second, I would never punch that person in the face. I'd never break their leg. Why would I break their brain?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I find what you say, Jennifer, so powerful because, oh my gosh, I can relate so much to it. I know we've talked about it in the past, but just even, for example, today, I just want to share just briefly about the fact that I experienced a lot of bullying, but I had professors in college who made me feel safe, who helped with the hope you talk about. There's hope that we aren't damaged. Like I felt damaged for the longest time, that I'm too broken. I'm too broken to be fixed. But my professors in college, in particular music professors, they gave me hope. And that's why I love doing stuff like this now. I love getting up on stage because I felt worthy. And I find it beautiful that you talk about that, Jennifer, that not only is this is an epidemic, this is so important, and we need to start paying attention to this, but also there's hope that we aren't too broken. And I think that is so important.
Yeah, that is the most important message. And the key to it all, and every single step of the book, as you know, I build in action steps for all the evidence-based practices of all the things we can do that are inexpensive. They don't require any special knowledge. They are almost like common sense. It's incredible. Our brains are innately wired to repair and recover, just as you've said. And what does it take? And what you describe with your professors, which is really just makes my heart sing, it is co-regulation. And that's the word that the scientists use when one person's brain comes into the picture and shares with someone who might be hurt, might feel damaged, might feel broken, and completely helps them by loving, caring, believing, giving them the critique that they need to reach their potential in a gentle way that's supportive and safe, there's no looking back. And I mean, this is the key to the whole thing. This is the work, the most important research in my lifetime, which is done by Dr. Michael Merzenich, and that is neuroplasticity. All of us can change our brains by what we practice, all of us, until our last day on the planet. And that's what he discovered in his lab. And that's why he won the Kavli Prize for neuroscience in 2016, along with many, many, many other awards. And he, at 82, is absolutely passionate, especially for every kid to know this. Every kid needs to know, doesn't matter what happened to your brain, doesn't matter how much it got hurt, you have the power to change it to be what you want. And it takes care and support and connection. It's not a journey you do alone. You do it with mental health professionals. You do it with your doctor. You do it with your friends and your family and your teachers and professors. Us all working together can have much healthier, happier, high-performing brains.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. And we have a question here that talks about, oops, sorry, that's not the question here. From Lori, do the anti-bullying campaigns at the school level work?
The research is really interesting on that. I mean, there's so many well-meaning people that want to make change, but I think one of the things we need to know is, especially with adolescent brains, so 13 to 24, 25, and this is complex and we don't have to get into the science of it, but just trust me when I say what the experts know is that those brains listen to other young people's brains much more than they listen to adults. So if you want to get an anti-bullying campaign going that's going to be successful, that's going to really make impact, you need kids teaching kids. So you need to have your 14-year-olds really getting the 13-year-olds excited about how kindness is actually immensely healthy for the brain. And you can make it simple. Like if kids all understood that one of the most important, well, it's again, the science is complex, but let's make it simple. Oxytocin is a neurotransmitter you get in the brain. It's like it works in very close relationships. It's very connected to mothers and children, for example. But what a lot of people don't know is you can create oxytocin in your brain just by kindness to yourself and kindness to others. You can release it. And oxytocin, again, which many don't know, it's a critical component for health. When we talk about health and wholeness and holistic health, and we often forget the brain. And so oxytocin is what we want in our brains, and we get it through connection and care and kindness. What we don't necessarily want pumping up into our brains all the time is cortisol. Cortisol, of course, is a really important, it's a stress hormone for when we're in danger from a predator. So if you need to run away, if you need to fight, if you need to freeze, like think animal world, we're mammals. If you need that, cortisol is your best friend. It pumps into you. But if it's that you are being humiliated and you are being ostracized, someone's cyberbullying you, someone's making you feel unsafe, or they're putting you down, you don't want cortisol pumping up into your brain. That kind of callous, cruel behavior can actually harm brain function and architecture. So cortisol becomes corrosive in that way, and it physically harms the brain and the body. So what are we doing in school? We're teaching our kids science right at the get-go. Oxytocin is what we want. How do you get it? How do you get healthy and strong? By caring for other people. What don't we want? We don't want cortisol pumping all the time into our brains. Why? Because it hurts our brains and it hurts the brains of other people. So yeah, kids teaching kids is the short answer to that long-winded spiel I just gave you.
Yes. And there's comments coming in that it's so prevalent. I mean, here looks like a secondary school girl. It's so sad. Like due to bullying, there are these tragic things that it's the time is now. The time is now. We need to address this. This is a public health emergency. There's urgency to it. And Jennifer, I want to talk with you some more about, well, I'm putting on these the scrolling tickers here, some things that definitely check out your book, The Bullied Brain. It's an incredible read. I was just fascinated by everything that you were talking about. I could give you a standing ovation as I was talking. So I'm like, gosh, this is so important. Everyone needs to check it out. There's also Psychology Today. You have a blog about the bullied brain. I have that down here below. Also, can you share with us, you have a new book coming out, and it is about gaslighting. And can you talk with us more about that? Because I think that's also a very important topic.
Yeah, I want to speak to I'm going to segue by talking about the child suicide piece and then move into gaslighting. So I want to share a really upsetting statistic with everyone. This is in America from 2000 to 2018. So internet, right? Social media, screens, phones, 2000 to 2018, youth suicide, that's our 10-year-olds to our 24-year-olds, increased by 57%. So when you hear a medical professional like Valerie saying that this is a public health emergency, should be on the front page of every single newspaper, yes, it absolutely should. It is so serious. And the sad thing is, I would love to be in every single school, in every kid's sport program and arts program, and houses and parents and teachers, and get them to understand that, especially our kids to understand, when you feel suicidal ideation, it's not anything more than your brain is dysregulated. If you had a dysregulated stomach, you would go to your parents, you'd go to your teacher and a doctor, you'd go to a professional, you'd get help. Dysregulated lungs, if you were having trouble breathing, you'd go and get help. When your brain is not functioning properly and it's giving you lots of strange, negative, destructive, panicky messages, you need professional help. And there's no, our problem with the brain is whenever we do anything with the brain, we instantly switch into a moral framework. But the brain needs to be in a medical framework. It is an organic part of our bodies, and it can malfunction just like our lungs and hearts and stomachs and legs can. And we just need professional help and get right on that track to getting better. Because as I said, the brain is innately wired to repair and recover. It's miraculous at recovery. Okay, so the new book, what happened was, as I was telling you at the beginning, I got involved in this bullying situation at school. It was at a school. I was a teacher. And it was teachers bullying kids. It wasn't kids. This is where I started to look at adults and go, wait a second. We're so focused on children. That's why we never move the needle on bullying. We need to look at the adults, and we adults have to work together to change how we treat one another if we want our kids to be healthier and happier. So I became really interested in the fact that bullying is essentially, it's a lie. And the heart of bullying lies, and it's the same. It doesn't matter who's saying what about anyone else. It doesn't matter how sophisticated it gets in its system. So it can go all the way up to misogyny, can go all the way up to anti-Semitism or Islamophobic behaviors, homophobic behaviors, all forms of racism. That is bullying writ large, but all the way down to its smallest form, to one kid to another on the playground. The lie of bullying is that you are unworthy and you don't belong. That's it. That's how simple, textbook, and basic it all is. So if we can start to identify that lie, the second you hear anybody talking about a group or another person, or they're gossiping about them, or they're making a hiring decision, or they're telling you that the person is dehumanized and doesn't have rights, that is because they are making you try to believe the lie that the person is unworthy and the person does not belong. It's a lie. So when I started to look at, okay, bullying is all about telling lies, it's a lie, I started to realize so is gaslighting. And gaslighting it became the word of 2022 for Merriam-Webster Dictionary because it was looked up 1,740 times more often than usual, percentage up. Everyone in 2022 was looking up, what does gaslighting mean? Why does it happen? Who does it happen to, etc. So gaslighting the best way to describe it is it tries to make you not trust yourself. So bullying is lying to you, so is gaslighting. Gaslighting is lying to you. It's telling you that your assessment of yourself and your reality is wrong. and you can't trust yourself. And essentially what you're doing is giving mental power over to someone else, like a puppet master who starts pulling the strings. Now, this can happen on the political level. It's propaganda. You're being led to believe things that they tell you to believe. It happens in fascist world political situations whereby the person tries to make you obey. So you stop thinking about what is my moral ethical center, and you just do as you're told. And as we've seen in history, people will do unbelievable things when the authoritarian figure tells them what to do. And of course, it's much more complex than that, but just in short, this is what gaslighting is doing. And what doesn't happen to us in our lives is we're not taught to recognize it. And so super smart, super experienced, advanced individuals, they will fall for the lies of bullying, and they will fall for the lies of gaslighting. And so that's what my book is about. My book is like, okay, we need to stop. It's called The Gaslit Brain. And it's all about how do we recognize manipulation when it's happening? How do we recognize that the person is not telling the truth? What can we learn from the neuroscience? What does the brain science teach us about getting sharper and smarter and faster at identifying lies?
Oh, that it'll be an incredible book. When will that be available?
So I shouldn't have been talking to you, Valerie, because it's supposed to be handed into my publisher on November 1st, but it will come out in the fall of 2025.
We'll definitely be on the lookout for that. Now, Jennifer, I want to address here a few questions in the chat about resources available. We have here, it sounds like someone was told that resources weren't available until turning 12. And also just others that are just feeling not knowing where to go. Like what can we do? What is there out there that we can do to advocate for ourselves and help our kids and others?
Yeah, that's first of all, that just makes me feel incredibly sad to hear that. The central chapter of my book, The Bullied Brain, is about a youth suicide. So trigger warning for anyone who's in that world. But the reason I'm talking about it is because I believe the more we talk about it, understand it, have language for it, are able to talk to our kids about it, the less overwhelming it will feel when the brain starts to get dysregulated. You know, what's fascinating to me is if we don't have the right language, we are unable to express the concept to ourselves, let alone to other people. So we want our kids to be absolutely full of nuanced language, full of ability to create words that match the concept for how they feel. That is critical. So in the book, the central chapter is about that, but everything in the book leading up to it and everything afterwards are like hands-on, applicable. Here's the science, here's what you can do. They're called action steps. And I can tell you, I went through another scientific revolution in my lifetime, and that was for people that are my age, like old people. You'll remember in the 1980s, we had the fitness revolution. And all of a sudden, workplaces were building gyms. They were handing out gym memberships. Everybody was getting in shape. Now, leading up to that, we felt powerless. We believed that athletes were in shape, and the rest of us were just like really dependent on the doctor. If we wanted to get better, we couldn't do anything ourselves. We just were lost, and we had to wait for the doctor. Well, we are at a same kind of tipping point right now. We can have brain fitness. We can go to the brain gym. There's very specific targeted exercises to do. So if I had an 11-year-old that was struggling with anything, depression, anxiety, suicidal ideation, I would work with them. I'd do it every single day with them, and they would do it every single day. They would do brain training. Just look up Brain HQ. So think brain headquarters, brainhq.com. It's gamified, it's inexpensive, it's online. All you need is Wi-Fi and a device, and you can do it. You do half an hour a day, and it's designed by neuroscientists. So Michael Merzenich is the lead scientist in the designing of this program, and the research behind it is nothing short of stunning. All 11-year-olds should be doing this program because we know adolescent brain development puts them at risk for a whole bunch of mental illness. A lot of that could be avoided if we had them going to the brain gym every day, just like we want them to be fit and do exercise every day. Why? Because it's so good for them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's incredible. I put that into the notes, brainhq.com, to check that out. Jennifer, you are a wealth of information. I just love everything. We need to be talking about this. We need to be really just showing people, like you're saying, we need to, I don't even have the words. It's just, I want to just give you a standing ovation. So now, as we wrap up here, I feel like I could talk with you all day. I want to make sure everyone who's listening gets a chance to check out your platform, your book, anywhere they can find you, and the resources. I've been putting it all in the notes, but please tell us as well.
Yeah, well, you can contact me on my website. There's a contact page. I answer every single message pretty much that I get, unless it's about promotion or AI or something. If it's a real person writing me, I answer. It just takes me a while. But if you need to reach me and you have questions or you're worried, or I'll do my very best to try and connect you to the right resources. And like Valerie was saying, I write a regular series for Psychology Today, and I write about these things, all of the stuff around what bullying does to the brain, what we can do, how we get better. And it's just a quick read. Like, all of us are so busy, but if you want to jump on Psychology Today and learn more, there's a whole bunch of articles that you can just quickly tap into. I have lots of resources on my website, of course. And yeah, I mean, I'm just working. I do lots of presentations and workshops with groups, and just the more we can all work together, I think, to get the science about our brains more front and center, it's going to be very healthy for us. And so that's, and also just to have like care for people who, especially kids who behave in bullying ways. We have to remember, and this is scientific. This isn't kind of like, oh, let's feel good. This is science. Hurt brains hurt. If your brain is being hurt, you may very well hurt other people. Is it your fault? I don't think so, especially if you're a kid that got hurt and you don't know you have a neurological wound. You don't know you have neurological scars. You're just behaving to survive. And if it manifests as bullying, that means you've been really badly hurt and you need help. You need medical help. You need professionals like mental health, care and guidance. And that's really what the future will be. The future will be moving away from this moral framework we have around aggressive, lashing out type behaviors, and start treating them as medical symptoms that we then seek a remedy for.
Absolutely. I think that's so amazing. I truly appreciate everything that you're sharing with us, Jennifer, and definitely check out what I included in the show notes to contact Jennifer, check out all her resources. And I want to thank everyone also who is commenting in the chat. Truly appreciate your support, as well as just talking with us, being vulnerable with us. These are the conversations that we need to start having. And thank you again. So Dr. Fraser, I am going to wrap up here so we can pass on the torch to the next speaker. It's going to be Dwight Hurst. So he'll be joining. You can check on our new channel there. It'll be on the same YouTube link though as well. So thank you again. I really appreciate it. And I hope you have a wonderful day.
You too, Valerie. Thank you so much for chatting with me. It was a pleasure as always. I look forward to the next time.
Thank you so much. Bye.